All right, we are back. Mikey, you are muted. Welcome to the Fuel Pod episode 82, El Matador, in honor of Carlos Sainz, and that's Carlos Sainz Sr., and we'll get to that shortly as we cover our Dakar fit. How did you end up on the left side?
I don't know. This is weird.
I'm completely discombobulated now. I'm going to go over here. There we go.
Yeah. Now we are back.
It's like, do you remember when you played like Street Fighter and Tekken and all those fighting games when you were a kid? Like I could never fight from that side of the screen. I was terrible.
No.
Yeah, I would be awful. So that was completely. I was about to throw up. So anyway, man, thanks for being here with us again tonight. You're now, full-fledged co-host.
Yeah, I'm here.
All righty. But we got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to be going through a little slide deck as we get through tonight and talking about some of the things that happened in motorsport. I was thinking as we were waiting to go live here that it would be cool to do a little impromptu podium tonight for some things or back markers in some things in motorsport this week, because I feel like we had a little bit of both. And I think you would probably agree with me. Pretty much anything McLaren. No, I'm joking. Back marker. So we got to talk about Dakar. Dakar finally finished up. They ran from, what was it, January 5th through the 16th or something like that. So
yeah,
crazy 5,000-mile trek across the desert. We had punctured tires. We almost had our first female in-class win. And she had a tire puncture on the last day, and it ended up booting her all the way to fourth. And I feel for her, but I know she's going to be back next year. I mean, she's got the bug now. So, really looking forward to seeing what she can do next year.
I know I'm going to be back. I've got the bug.
Oh, yeah, man. It's such a great event. And if you already like rally or you already like dirt track racing, there's really nothing to not like about Dakar, really. And you'll see some stuff you're never going to see in other forms of dirt racing. Some you'll see in WRC, you'll see drivers and co-drivers working on their own car, which is how I found out about Dakar was from WRC. So that's crazy. But we had, and I'm not going to go over every class, and I tend to stick to the ones I'm a big fan of. And Mikey, next year, if there's one of the other classes that's not going to be represented, make sure we get it in there. I'm not a big fan of quads and what I call the micro cars, the little cars. Not a huge fan. So I'm going to go through the big ones tonight as we get into it. The first up is the bikes. It's the most popular event in the entire rally. Not my favorite, but it is the most popular event. And there's a lot to be said for these guys. We've brought it up week over week how these guys, they don't obviously have a co-driver. So everything is managed pretty much on a computer on their handlebars with their road book and the whole bit.
It's got to get lonely for them.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say, man, the Stars and Stripes brought it home this year. Ricky Brabeck from Monster Energy Honda had an excellent rally and came in first. His teammate actually came in third, Van Beveren. So second place was Ross Branch. But those three had been trading off positions for the entire time. For all you gearheads out there that are interested in the technical piece of it, Brabeck was on a Honda CRF 450 Rally. That was his bike for Monster Energy Honda. So excellent run. Congratulations, man. 5,000 miles and a win is, even finishing is great, but a win's got to feel good. I wish he would have been. Look at this picture, though. If you haven't seen the Dakar trophy, you really should go and Google that thing. That thing is legit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to have a replica of that thing just to put on a shelf. And all these guys get one for finishing. But, obviously it's different colors depending on if you're on the podium or not. But really cool trophy and really great win for Braybeck and the Monster Energy Honda team, who's going home with 2 out of the 3 podium spots. So hats off to them. And then we move on to the namesake for tonight's episode, El Matador, the 61-year-old Carlo Sainz Sr. He was in the Audi RS Q e-tron E2. It's a mouthful. Audi's kind of known for that. But he drove that Audi last year. And for the record, this is his 4th win, Mikey. He's won this thing 4 times. This is a rally beast. He won the World Rally Championship twice too. So he's got 6 big championships in the bag for his life in rally.
I saw a clip this week of him taking the trophy home, his new putting the new trophy in the trophy case.
Yeah,
it was
yeah, and fighting off Sebastian Loeb, who's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's got to be tough for him. He keeps trying. But another cool little tidbit story: Carlos Sainz Jr., the F1 driver, surprised his dad by taking a late night trip down there and meeting up with his dad, which is better than what he did last year, which was meet up with him on the road and then get him disqualified, or get a penalty put on him for touching his car door, which you're not allowed to do. Only the driver and co-driver can do that. So anyway, my hat's off to him. Great job. And then last but not least, and it's, trying to pronounce some of the, I can see where it would be tough for a fan to get into it, but this is probably my favorite class, which is what I'm referring to as the big ass truck division. Yes. Unfortunately, it wasn't my favorite truck that won, but Martin Maciek and Tomasek and Svanda from the Czech Republic took home the trophy for MM Technology in their this truck is called an Iveco Power Star. Not a big fan of I like the cab over trucks, man. Those are my favorite. Not a big fan of this one or the Praga, although they definitely have some class. I'll give them that. But they're hoisting the trophy. You can see that trophy in the picture there. Look at that thing, man. That thing's a beast. So hats off to them as well. Dakar's done for a year. Now they can go home and start the training regimen all over again. So it's your first year really kind of following it. What'd you think overall?
I was just amazed at what the endurance of them. I mean,
yeah,
they're on a 2-week camping trip going full throttle.
Yeah.
With every obstacle that can be found in the desert thrown at them.
Yeah, the rocks and the what they call that grass, the camel grass.
Yeah.
There were bikes, just guys doing headers off of bikes hitting that grass, man. I'm sure it didn't affect the cars as much, but of course the cars had their own problems with the rocks. So
rocks, grass, disappearing dunes.
Yeah. You know what's crazy, amazing, man? And I'm going to kind of pivot to you on this because I know you've really followed them this time. But even if we hadn't had some interaction from Tim and Tom Cornell on some of our tweets and show material, those two do a great job of really cataloging and documenting their journey through the Dakar. They could probably make a few bucks doing just turning all their video in for a documentary because they kind of experienced every possible, the full gamut of emotion that you can go through during that rally. They experienced it, and they did it together, and as basically the small part of their family out there as brothers. Getting it done. And I'm sure they probably drove each other crazy here and there. Because I know if I had to spend 5,000 miles in a vehicle with any of my brothers, even though I'm so far away from them now, 5,000 miles might be too much.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say one. I was gonna watch this show and then later, and then text me, and I'm gonna be in trouble. But man, I mean, that would just be crazy for any of us to do. So, hats off to them for that and for getting through this rally. I know it wasn't the finish they wanted, but it's the finish they got, and they did. But you said they did what, better than they've ever done?
Yeah. They were P22. They came in 22nd. Best finish they've ever got. They finished, and that was most important, to finish. And we said before, with there were 700 competitors, 400 something vehicles.
Yeah.
For the vast majority, finishing this thing is the goal. Now the big dogs race, but it is just to finish it is one hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah. And they were in, their car model is referred to as the Century CR6. And man, that thing just looks like they just kind of built it. You know what I mean? Ground up kind of car. I mean, it doesn't have the Honda name or the Toyota name or Kamaz or MAN or any of that stuff. Audi. So
they're sponsored by Team Cornell.
Yeah, which is crazy. So to me, that makes, if it were me, if I were them, and I'm not, but if I were, I mean, that would make it more special to me. You know what I'm saying? Getting that done. But yeah, great job, fellas. Thanks for the interaction you did give us, and of course we'll be following you. Hope you got many more Dakars left in you. I mean, if Carlos signs is any indication, you should. So, anywho, man, that was Dakar. So, first part of the new year, get to slide through the desert, and while we're waiting, and there's a great shot of Tim and Tom. This wasn't this year's car, but this is a really good picture of them, man, and just kind of shows how close they are, and
they have fun. Golly,
how team oriented they are.
They cut up together, and it's a great follow, and I would say a big part of me attaching myself to Dakar is because of them.
Because good deal.
The way they presented it.
Yeah. But we have to move on because, folks, I know I was watching Maddie's P1 F1 broadcast, and I know everybody's dying for that is a Formula One fan. Is dying for the season to get started, and information's just been kind of trickling down. We're still waiting on 9 other teams' car reveal to see, and technically we're still waiting on McLaren because all they did was design the livery and slap it on the car. I don't think that's the final design for their car by any means, but I think they don't want to show it too early either.
No.
But one team this week decided to up and change their name. It's caused some scuttlebutt across the racing community. And before I show that name of that team, sort of like Prince, this is the artist formerly known as AlphaTauri. I'm 99% sure I'm going to call them AlphaTauri still, if I do it, or Red Bull Junior.
No, but they have a new name.
They have a new name, and folks, hold your applause because I doubt there will be any. They are now the Visa Cash App RB Formula One team.
V-Carb.
Yeah. And I responded to my son's tweet today talking about this. Sort of reminds me of the early 90s when the bowl games started getting, corporate sponsorship. And I think the first one I remember was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
And then you had the GoDaddy.com/whatever bowl. So now we're starting to see that with Formula One as it even becomes more commercialized. I'm not saying it's a bad logo. I'm saying it's a bad name, dude. Seriously.
Absolutely. They take the cake on bad names.
Well,
there was another bad name.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. But you had a little snippet on this, didn't you, as far as Max Verstappen?
Yeah. So the other bad name, go ahead and say it. Steak F1 team. It's ridiculous. Well, here's the deal. We all know Max Verstappen has to win everything.
Right.
All right. And I think he's taking control of all of Red Bull. And he has to win everything. A good example is iRacing had a big global sim event
Okay.
over the weekend of the 24 hours of Daytona, which we'll talk about here in just a bit. Well, guess who won?
Max
Max
Verstappen.
Verstappen. Yes. Dude,
Yeah.
you don't have to win everything. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of got into Red Bull's culture. Must have everything.
Yeah.
So when Stake F1 launched their name, Stake F1 team, well, Red Bull said, hold my beer. Visa Cash App RB.
Yeah. And
Yep,
that's not
they
even
win again.
that's not even the full name of that one, but we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, this is just horrible. This is actually our opening, by the way, for Ripped from the Paddock. I didn't read the article concerning this logo. I really didn't feel like I needed to at this point because it's just bad. It's just bad. I don't like it. I mean, I can't wait to hear Buxton and Laura Winter and those guys are, they're like, oh, Yuki's coming around the turn in that Visa Cash App RB Formula One car thing. Or how many times they accidentally say AlphaTauri. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely bad across the board, which prompted me to want to talk. And we got more Ripped from the Paddock, but let's go ahead. It prompted me to talk about F1's team names. I did my best with color coding on here. They didn't have shit green for McLaren, but here we are. We've got Red Bull Racing, straightforward, not bad, tells you who they are and what they're doing. Then we've got the Petronas AMG F1 team. And I realize that sponsors want their name, but Petronas is all over that car. It's not like they're going to not know that that's who it's on. That one's not crazy bad. The next one is heavenly. It's the Scuderia Ferrari. It's been the Scuderia Ferrari since Enzo was in charge of it, and when Enzo started it, have not ever changed their name or their reliability. So
I must have missed the press release on this one. I didn't see the McLaren name change.
Yeah, the McLaren F1 team sucks. Sorry, how'd that get in there? It's not supposed to show my notes, just the actual name. Anyway, it's actually just the McLaren F1 team. And, I pick on them, but they're a great team. And I love everything about what they do. I just don't like anything that they do. And number 5, they kind of ruined this one. What started out was just the Aston Martin F1 team. Now it's the Cognizant Aston Martin F1 team. Okay, not crazy bad. Then you couldn't get more simple than Alpine F1. You really can't. They're not the BWT or the Matfrey Alpine F1. They're Alpine F1. So good job to them. And then we have the ghastly monstrosity that is the Visa Cash App RB team, F1 team. That's terrible. Haas. I mean, other than they suck, it's the Haas F1 team. Pretty simple. Same with Williams. And then last, and certainly, well, they're definitely least, is the Stake F1 Kick Sauber F1 team. Thing. Something. Just as bad as Visa Cash App as far as I'm concerned. I hope they don't run together because that would just be an absolute mouthful if you're an announcer going,
oh, yeah, that would be horrible.
Oh, Ricardo and the Visa Cash App RB just got into
Where's those NASCAR guys at? Y'all gonna have to come in here and call this thing.
Yeah, the NASCAR guys would have a ball with this one. I mean, or just any driver that has to do a post-race conference, and he's like, yeah, the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet cornflake frosted flake, who gives a shit? Whatever, did great today. Anyway, yeah, they gotta fix some of this. It's just bad. But
it's
that
fun
leads
how
me
you had Haas in there at number 8. Gene Haas said today that P8 is his demand this year.
Oh wow! I did the first 5, and then I kind of got over there to the other 5, and then I was just like, I just listed them in
whatever
order that they came to mind. So anyway, we do have a couple more articles from the paddock that I wanted to discuss. The first one is Verstappen reveals Alonso has spoken to him about tackling the Le Mans 24-hour. Mikey, your thoughts?
Well, when I first saw this, I went from 6 to midnight. The thought of this dream team in Le Mans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they need another driver. They got to have 3. So who's the third driver? I guess that creates its own discussion right there.
Vettel.
Wow.
How about a dream team?
Wow, man. What a great choice. What a great choice. Man, another dream team is kicking Verstappen and just letting him do his thing, and then Alonso, Hamilton, and Vettel. They'd be arguing about who's going to get the most wheel time, though. But but still, man, either way, just the part from the article, Verstappen and Alonso together in the Le Mans 24. To me, that would be, I don't know what to tell you. That would be something to behold and watch, I think. Here's my thing. I think it would either be fantabulous runaway win, or it'd be an absolute shit show. So anyway, yeah, I thought that was a cool article, and definitely over the next, probably as we get closer to Le Mans, to find out and see how this is going down.
Some intrigue for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. The last one I've got is, we've got some big ideas. After a turbulent 2023, Tech Chief Matt Harmon explains Alpine's plan to turn it around this year. We've got some big ideas. Well, I hope so, man. I really do. I hope one of your ideas includes not blowing up your cars, not letting both of your awesome drivers even get close to competing. It looked like they were going to start out balls out at the beginning of the year, and then they blew each other up at, I forgot what race it was, where they got into each other. It was Canada or Hungary or something, and blew each other up right at the end. Now they got big investor money from the celeb, corporate confab. Got Deadpool and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Pat Mahomes and whoever else they got. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, man, saying we've got some big ideas. Hopefully he expounded on that in the article. I hope when I do read the article.
Yeah, I hope so. That didn't.
So what's it look like for Alpine this year? Well, we've got some big ideas. No shit. Everybody's got big ideas, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. And then that was it for Rip from the Paddock. But, another piece of news this week, before we move on to the next portion of the show, is that starting in 2026, the Spanish Grand Prix will be held in Madrid, in town. So it's going to be a street circuit. And it seemed like the F1 community is a little bit torn as far as fans and content people on whether they want another streets. I love street circuits. Hopefully it's not as tight as Monaco. If you'll remind me next week, I'll try to get some overheads of downtown Madrid and kind of look at it. It's not going to be too terribly different from Baku, I don't think, but there's a lot of good overtaking at Baku, I think, just watching it. But hopefully it's not so tight where whoever qualifies on the pole wins the race, as long as they don't have a problem. So it's hard to tell. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I've read people back and forth, worried about losing Barcelona for Madrid, and I like a street circuit myself. I actually watched a hot lap for Madrid earlier today, and yeah, it's tight. There's a couple of corners where 100% a wreck's going to happen right there.
Okay. Here's my thing, man. They did all those modifications to Barcelona to Catalunya. and to make it better. And now they're losing that race. So I don't know how Barcelona feels about that, or the circuit organizer there. But I mean, that's got to suck after doing all that work. I mean, granted, that track's going to get plenty of work. GT World Challenge goes there. WEC's been known to go there. There's a lot of country-specific and manufacturer-specific races that go on there. MotoGP goes on there. I mean, it's crazy. There's even like a small rally course that makes use of the tarmac and the infield for rally races at Barcelona. So, it's a cool track. I mean, it's been around forever. So I'm anxious to see what Madrid can bring to the table in regards to some exciting racing. All right, man. World Rally Championship, start of the season. Crazy things coming out of the world of rally this week. Kalle Rovanperä, two-time world champ, has decided to go part-time. He's only going to do 5 or 6 events, although the funny thing is, if he wins all 5 or 6 of those events, he could probably still win the world championship, which is crazy. They do have a new point system in rally this year. It's still the whole rally is still worth 30 points, but the way they broke it down is you're now getting 18 points for the first section, and then the top 10 drivers will get points, and then the next phase is the top 7 drivers, and then the next phase is the top 5 to try to encourage it to be more competitive. If you win the Wolf Power stage, that's 5 points, which is the last stage on Sunday. But this weekend, they're at it's one of the few racing series, sort of like NASCAR, that starts at their Grand Jewel, Rally Monte Carlo. Already having issues with some reliability for Hyundai and tire management, because Rally Monte Carlo is the toughest one to manage tires on, because you either can pick snow or you can pick gravel, but you can't really do both. So Thursday night, though, they had the craziest special stage I've seen. I mean, it was pitch black outside, and people had these Roman candle style fire, and they were going off, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, either give me fireworks or give me pitch black, but don't give me both, because you're just going to go blind. I'm betting these drivers just had their eyeballs just glued to the road.
With the glare off the snow, too.
Yeah, with the glare off the snow, and people had
and the people were right there on top of them.
And people had their phones out with the flashlights on, because obviously, all they were capturing was 8 feet of darkness, I'm sure. But they still did it. So I saw Seb Loeb go around a corner. It was a hairpin with concrete, 3 to 4 foot stone walls on either side, and he's drifting around the corner. And I saw no less than probably 10 or 11 flashlights in his face.
Yeah.
So anyway, it looked weird. It was crazy looking. I'm sure they had a wonderful time. But yeah, it was a weird Thursday. But some of the highlights. First, I want to bring up the Welsh Wizard, Elvin Evans, who's in P1 going into tomorrow. Terry Neuville is in P2, but he's 15 seconds back. And then Seb Ogier, and folks, I don't care what type of racing you're into, Seb Ogier is going after his 10th Monte Carlo win. He already has 9. He's going for his 10th, which is unprecedented in the world of rally. And he's in P3. Nobody knows the circuit or the course better than him. It's his to lose, really, in a lot of ways. But he's in P3 right now. So I would like to see somebody be able to say they won Monte Carlo 10 times. That's insane.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people out there that would. But anyway, yeah, he's in P3 going into tomorrow. So, Seb, good luck, man. Always rooting for the old guys, of course. And then, of course, Elvin Evans hopefully he can stick it out as well. All right, man. Well, that takes us to there's a nice little sweeping lefter right there with the Ford Puma Red Bull. right, so this is where I kind of messed up the presentation tonight because technically we're talking about IMSA, but technically we're also talking about endurance, but technically we're talking about IMSA. So there's like a mixture of cars in this that we're going to talk about. So Mikey sends me the pictures this week to put in this presentation because these are the things he wanted to talk about. And he sends me like 15 effing pictures, right? And he knows I love Ferrari. So he sends me a picture that all these pictures are in like 4K 3D. Looks like you can reach out and touch the car. I get to the Ferrari and it looks like it was taken on a Polaroid from 1947. It was horrible and I wasn't having it. So I grabbed the Ferrari hypercar and just threw it right up here.
The Le Mans winning Ferrari hypercar.
And I just want to say, even though this was an IMSA event we just had at Daytona, there was a lot of hypercars that are be going up against this bad boy this year. And you're the one that said it, saying that they were going to take the fight to Gazoo this year, and I think they will. Yep. In fact, I think Cadillac's going to take the fight to Gazoo this year. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ferrari's got, although that's not on the table tonight. I just wanted to bring it up because he sent me a bullshit picture that I wasn't going to use.
Well, since we're on Ferrari, do you want to do your weekly? It's not WEC, but do you want to put your weekly? Lest we forget, Ferrari was the only car to beat a Red Bull in Formula One last year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, I'll have that. I'll take that little, ding for probably the next 2 or 3 years because I feel like they're always going to be the only one that's going to take a win away from Red Bull. I have to feel that way, man. Any Tifosi has to feel that way. But that being said, we were at the 24 Hours of Daytona this past week. We had some interesting cars, some crazy WTF cars, which I'll get to in a minute because I didn't really get to process all these pictures. I just got to see them on spec. But Mikey, I'll let you take us around the horn right here.
Yeah. So, like you said, it's a IMSA sanctioned race. For some of our new listeners, we're talking endurance racing. It's 24 hours at Daytona, or the Rolex 24 is what the official name is. And even though it is IMSA sanctioned, it is, it's part of the Triple Crown of endurance racing with 24-hour Le Mans and 12 hours of Sebring. Real quick, there's no set lap. So you're not running this many laps, or you're not running
you're running
miles. You're running 24 hours. Who can cover the most ground in 24 hours?
Right.
And there's different classes. And I kind of got a couple of pictures here. Some cars that I'm going to be watching in, different classes. And, the first one on the top left, that's Rex.
Okay.
That's from AO Motorsports. And he is P1 in class. He's a little Rex. He's Rexy. He's a little dinosaur. Even on the doors, he's got little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, I saw that. Like there was a car last year that looked like a little pig, and it was a Porsche. So they always kind of go the animal themes with some of these Porsche teams. I'm assuming that's the 911.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. And
to
the right of that is the Iron Lynx Lamborghini. And what's cool about this is why I picked it is Romain Grosjean.
Is it cool?
Well, Romain Grosjean, Formula One vet, will be one of the drivers in this car.
Okay.
And of course, bottom left is the Iron Dames. Back in Lamborghini, last year, both them and the Lynx were in Porsche. They're in their Lamborghinis again. They brought in, I'm calling her the ringer, Dorianne Penn, to join the other three on the team. And speaking of Dorianne Penn, signed as a junior driver for Mercedes last week. Will be driving in F1 Academy with the Mercedes livery, which I thought was pretty cool.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, man, but I freaking hate Lamborghini. just on spec.
Yep.
I've never been into their cars. Um, I'm not saying I'd turn one down if someone gave me a free one and stuck it out front, but I'd probably sell it. I'd almost definitely sell it. But just not a huge fan. I'm excited about the Iron Dames because I like what they represent for the sport and uber talented. And I'm not saying Roman Grosjean's not uber talented. He's like Dennis the Menace, dude. I mean, he really is. I mean, he can't get out of his own way a lot, and it's just I think it's a character flaw, but and a lot of us have that character flaw. But yeah, I wish him the best. I hope he does well here. I hope he finds his niche, if for lack of a better term. But yeah, so and what in the holy name of jumping Jehoshaphat is that supposed to be?
So this is the LMP2 car.
Yeah, that part I got.
This is Rexy's counterpart, Spike the Dragon.
Oh, I thought it was Barney.
Nah.
I was never into a lot of those. What's his name again?
Spike.
Spike the dragon.
Yeah, so AO Motorsports has their two cars, has Rexy and Spike.
All right.
Rexy the Dino, Spike the Dragon. And seeing some pictures around the Daytona and stuff, and kids carrying around the little plushies. I used to call them stuffed animals, but nowadays they're called plushies.
Yeah, plushies.
And wearing their marketing to kids. Kids gonna say, "Dad, I want to go watch that car." Dad's like, "Hell yeah, let's go watch that car."
Yeah,
I think it's a great marketing strategy.
I mean, it is because we have to foster motorsports in our young people in order for them to become old motorsports fans. So yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, so those two were pretty fun. And here we go. We got the Ford Mustang is back. There's two cars that's going to look just like this, 64 and number 65. But it's fun to see a Ford back on the track. Right next to it is who I'm picking to win.
The Cadillac.
The Ganassi Cadillac. Although the one below, the Wheeling Cadillac, is on pole, overall pole.
Okay.
But that Ganassi Cadillac, Scott Dixon and Alex Palou from IndyCar are part of the driving team. Yeah.
That's kind of weird. I guess I just assumed they didn't really get along that well because they've had some run-ins IndyCar. But Scott Dixon, obviously an aged veteran of IndyCar, world champion, IndyCar driver, and Palou is, he's still a young kid, but man, he can get it done as well. Also, IndyCar champion. So kind of a little mix of youth and grizzled veterans. So I think that's kind of neat that they're in that caddy.
Yeah, we'll go to my favorite, and I don't know why.
Is that a Studebaker? What is that, man?
This team's out
of Canada. Are these guys new?
And last year they drove a plaid Porsche. This year they're driving a McLaren.
I mean, as far as
still have a little bit, still have a little bit of plaid on there, but it's just a cool looking car, and that's my fave.
If you say so. Yeah, and McLaren's always been up there, man. Whether it's IMSA or WEC or GT World Challenge, even.
There's a fuzzy Ferrari out there somewhere. I'll try to catch it, but
yeah, I deleted that sucker immediately. So anyway, man, that's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend. I had the times and everything I sent to you, but I forgot what they were. Oh, okay. Saturday, January 27th. So Peacock will have the whole entire thing. On regular TV, NBC, I have an hour. Saturday, USA's covering 13 hours of it. And
wow.
On Sunday, USA will have a few more hours, 6 more hours, and Yeah, they're back on regular TV on NBC for 2 hours on Sunday afternoon.
Cool.
But Peacock will be covering the entire thing.
Cool
Should be some
beans,
fun
man.
stuff.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it's Daytona. It really doesn't matter what cars are out there. Daytona is always fun to watch, especially that crazy infield course, man. Holy crap! All right, man. Well, real quick, I know we didn't really have it on the thing tonight, but I wanted to do an impromptu, and we don't even have to fill it up, but an impromptu podiums and back markers, and I'll start since I dropped this bomb on you.
Yeah,
I'll start with my podium, and I'm going to start with P1 on my podium, and I'm going to go with Carlos Sainz. 61 years old. I don't care who you are. 5,000 miles across the desert and taking home the checkers, man, for the fourth time. A storied career and an incredible win from a legend. So he takes my P2 spot or P1 spot. My P2 spot is going to Ricky Brabeck, also Dakar, for bringing it home for the Stars and Stripes, man. A lot of these global races, you don't see our flag up there, even on the podium, much less on the top step. So hats off to him and that Monster Energy team. So great job. And then last but not least, I'm going to showcase Tim and Tom Cornell, but I want to talk about all the people that compete and finish that rally, because true athletes, everyone, even the ones that didn't finish, you have to be to even get. First off, you have to be sort of a nut bar to even sign up and register for that thing, right?
absolutely.
So I realize my podium is all Dakar, and I could definitely have an honorable mention to Elvin Evans coming right out of the gate and showing some domination at Rally Monte Carlo. But yeah, he gets my honorable mention. But yeah, definitely all the steps go to Dakar for my podium.
All right. Thanks for going first.
You're welcome.
It gave me a second to think about it. So on my podium, I want to put, I mentioned her before, Dorian Penn.
Okay.
Signing as a junior for Mercedes. Dude, this girl can drive. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, we knew that, but yeah.
Said before, she won the FIA Revelation Award last year, you know, for her move up into LMP2. She did great. Yeah, that is a great move. She's a ringer, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all Bianca Bustamante, but this girl's gonna smoke the field, I think.
Yeah, I agree, man.
All right, P2. I can't not believe you haven't mentioned this, but with all the F1 contracts due to end this year, Ferrari locked down one of theirs. Charles Leclerc has signed his new re-up with Ferrari.
So I knew this is where you were going. That's why I left it off.
Now,
and for the record, I would call this a backmarker event.
Oh, yeah?
Because, well, I mean, I think my record's pretty clear. I'm more of a Carlos Sainz guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think he's a true student of the game. And I'm not by any means saying Charles Leclerc is a bad driver. I mean, he's great. He has to be.
To me,
I just don't. And here's the worst part about this whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to steal your shit on this one, but I don't think he wants to be there. I think he just likes the safety of being at Ferrari, and I think he's hell-bent on the fact that he said many, many years ago, all I've ever wanted to be is a Ferrari driver, and I don't doubt that. But I just don't think that's where his home is, man.
I just don't see him anywhere else. When I see him, I see Ferrari.
Too. Yeah, you're right. And
when I see Carlos Sainz, I see a guy who could drive anywhere.
Yeah.
When I see Leclerc, I see a guy who can drive for Ferrari.
Yeah, and in the same vein, Lando Norris is very Charles Leclerc-y because McLaren's all we've known. It's all he knows. I think he'd end up being like Danny Rick if he tried to go somewhere else and just have an awful go at it. Yeah. He's used to the McLaren way of life. He's used to the car. He's used to the people he works with. So yeah, that part I get. I mean, even when Leclerc was driving for Alfa Romeo, there's always been a strong tie between Alfa Romeo and Ferrari. And that comes from the man himself. Enzo drove Alfa Romeo cars.
Yeah.
And even when he formed Ferrari, those were basically Alfa Romeos with his little prancing pony label on him. So, which is the prancing pony story is for another time, but that's a crazy story in and of itself. But even like I said, even driving for Alfa Romeo and talking about how much he wanted to drive for Ferrari, everybody kind of saw the writing on the wall and knew that's where he was going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you and disagree at the exact same time, and I know that makes me crazy, but still,
he locks down his spot.
Yeah,
where I think he belongs,
and that's got to feel good, right? Because you got job security.
Maybe that gets the ball rolling. Yeah,
maybe
this scuttlebutt goes wild.
Yeah,
and on my top spot, so I had the same as you, right? I'm still going to stay with it, but the Cornell brothers. Here's the reason why. When I got into NASCAR, I've told this story before. I attached myself to Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, here we go.
And
yeah, you did.
So, I mean, I was his fan, and that had me watching NASCAR. I lived and breathed NASCAR.
Yeah,
because I attached myself to him. Well, the same thing with Dakar. I've followed the Cornell brothers through the whole thing, kind of attached these. Golly, I just want these guys to do good.
Yeah.
And I think that attachment has really drove my fandom of Dakar. And I think that occurred till next year. I can't wait to see them out there again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be cheering just as loud. So they get the top spot of being who they are and
excellent, man.
Putting their stuff out there.
That's a good deal. All right. So back markers. I'm going to start with number 3. You actually stole mine for one of my back markers for your podium, but we've already discussed it, which is the Charles Leclerc signing with Ferrari again. So that was number 3 for me. Number 2, and granted, this is improv, so I'm literally making this up as I go and what pissed me off this week. Number 2 is whatever the F that purple dragon car was that you made me put in that presentation. And I'm not going to say any more about that other than, I didn't really enjoy it. But I get from a marketing standpoint where they're going. Number 1, absolutely number 1, and I'm just going to say it one more time, Visa Cash App RB F1 team. Definitely, without a doubt. And that's mine.
I'll tell you what, I can only come up with one. You kind of threw this on me, but I'm going to.
Okay.
This is going to be my first of many for this guy, I bet.
Okay.
Esapeka Lapi.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
So Rally Monte Carlo last week.
This week.
We picked our winners.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, my pick don't show up.
Somebody else is in his car.
Yeah.
Oh, who's driving his car,
got me
man?
on this one.
Who's in his car? Andreas Mikkelsen?
I think so.
Yeah, they brought him from WRC2. He's going to split the car with Esapeka Lapi.
Yeah.
That's great. And Sebastian Ogier is splitting his car with Cali Rovanpera. So, yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. I mean, rally is if it's not anything else, it's absolutely crazy as far because, and I've said this a lot. I said this a lot when Chad was on the show. It's more about the cars and the manufacturers. The drivers are just mercenaries in rally, and that's really, if you start leaning towards that, you'll be better off. It's better to say, okay, yeah, I'm happy for Seb Ogier. He got his 10th Monte Carlo win. And, I've kind of followed his career. Cool. But as far as rooting on a rally, it's better, and it'll save you a lot more heartache to just root for a car or a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just better.
Well, I think it's because the
Plus,
level
you
of
can pronounce most of the car
insanity,
names.
the level of insanity of these drivers and co-drivers.
Yeah.
No telling what they're going to do.
It's absolutely true. And, you look at some of the underlying contributions that Rally makes to the world. And, you talk about F1, and F1 is one of those places, it's an R&D hotbed for hybrid technology. But you look at Rally, and not only do they have hybrid technology now, they're also a hotbed for tire and shock and struts and those things that are going on the road cars. So it's really more about that than anything else. But anyway, don't want to crawl into the deep grass tonight, man. So, buddy, you got anything else? We can call it a night.
I Drive to Survive, February 23rd.
Oh, crap. Drive to Survive is February 23rd. That's the premiere. It coincides with the end of the winter practice session. It's also my son's birthday.
Tour of Gunther Steiner.
And the farewell tour of Gunther Steiner. Although we'll talk about it next week, but he's apparently already got some stuff in the works as far as job-wise. I bet it's going to be involving speaking to the public. But anyway. All right, man. Well, listen, all you few pod people out there, when you do watch the show, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Mikey, buddy, enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
You do the same.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up some Monte Carlo this weekend and give it a go. And then if I can get some of the Daytona piece, I will try to catch some of that. So anyway, folks, we were missing a couple of us tonight. One of them had high school basketball games, and the other one is crazy slam busy with work. So anyway, have a good week. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Buckle up, Buttercup. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Night.